Welcome back to Podcast Recovery One. We're your hosts, David O.
And Eric B.
And joined with us today is our friend Rachel. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing well. We just had you back on for the second time, so this will be technically a third episode, even though you haven't left your chair.
That's true.
We did Complacency. We have her story, so go back and listen to Rachel S. It's two fantastic episodes, and here is our third. Am I an addict?
No.
Am I?
Never.
Yes. I am addicted to all the things. And there's actually a great pamphlet in Narcotics Anonymous, which I'm actually reading out of right now. Am I an addict? And the very first thing it says in here is only you can answer this question.
Oh, and
only you can prevent forest fires. Yeah.
That's right.
Only you
right.
can prevent forest
I like
fires.
to hear.
And I'm going to read a couple things. This may not be an easy thing to do. Through our usage, we told ourselves, I can handle it. Even if this was true in the beginning, it is not so now. The drugs handled us. We lived to use and used to live. Very simply, an addict is a person whose life is controlled by drugs. And then all of us have preconceived idea about what an addict is. There's nothing shameful about being an addict once you begin to take positive action and you can identify your problems. You may be able to identify your solution.
Ooh, deep.
Love that. All right.
Identify your solution.
So yeah, this is going out to anybody out there questioning in their mind, like, am I an addict? Maybe it's the people still in active addiction and they're using it. I'm like, oh, I don't know, and I just came across this podcast. Well, if you're Googling recovery podcasts, that's probably not a good sign, but probably a good sign that you're seeking help.
It's a good sign they're seeking help.
They're seeking help.
Yeah.
And it's also for the old timers who are like, I've gotten into some complacency. I've got 10 years clean. I've got 15 years sober. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Maybe I'm not an addict anymore. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's get to some of these questions. And in your story, Rachel and Eric, did you ever use alone?
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
What do you mean?
That's how I started.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to use with other people. They want to like share and shit. Fuck
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, mine shifted. And like when we've had some clinical people on here and they're like, that's the big shift in using.
Yeah.
That's
imagine.
I did that though from the get-go.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
Yeah, it wasn't like I had to get high. Like I remember people like that who were like, "Oh man, I can't smoke by myself." I'd be like, "Why?"
Oh no, I never said that. But like,
Well,
but no. I was never like I have to use with other people. But it was just the way shit went.
Right.
Like I had smoking buddies, I had drinking buddies that were all on the same train as I was.
For sure.
So it was party. It was.
It's
partying.
a weird.
It was partying.
It's
it was
a
a
weird
social
thing to climb though. When like, I just never thought like whether you use with people or by yourself. I never really found that to matter. As far as like answering the question,
I think there is. I agree, but I also think there is definitely a distinction for those people who were, I'm just partying. Like, this is just college. I'm just doing what I do.
Yeah.
And then,
Big.
college ends. You left the fraternity. You're 28 years old, and you're still fucking blowing rails. And
how else are you gonna
in
get
the bathroom of your fucking your office?
You gotta get your work done.
I get it.
David.
I
you gotta
get it.
do your work. Right?
I get it. It doesn't make your cocaine use right. But yeah, and for the alcoholic, like, are you having 2 beers after your shift
Well, no,
or whatever?
not the 2 beers. It's
with
when
your
you're drinking the 2 minis before work or at lunch.
Exactly.
The before
drinks.
The
yes.
before drug.
Are you handling a handle of Jack Daniels by yourself in your living room while playing Call of Duty?
Right. What's that?
Some call it a Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
What's that living room bar look like?
So yeah, what does that alone usage look like?
Yeah.
Like, it varies from person to person. Like, and whatever. If you're a former heroin user and you're like, I come home and smoke 1 joint a day, it's like, okay,
Right.
I'm not here to judge you. You do you.
Yeah.
The weed's not going to kill you. The heroin will. Okay, you've made a step in the right direction. But, alone usage is definitely why are you using?
Right.
Like,
what's the motive?
Are you depressed? What's going on there? So why are you using alone?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a shift for sure.
It's definitely a shift because
For-
at first
for the
when
pe-
you're using it's for fun, yes.
Right.
It is fun and it is experimenting
But
for like.
can
the
we
young
all be
people.
honest? People kind of suck.
Well,
You know,
yeah.
they're probably
Yeah.
ruining your high. You know, so like you gotta get them out of there.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
And-
totally.
And yeah, and I mean, if you're smoking or snorting or drinking with two people
Or
and-
boofing. Don't forget our boofers out there.
Good lord.
Boofing.
Yeah,
Keistering, if you will.
keistering.
Keistering.
Yeah, if you're keistering between two people and you switch it down to one,
Yeah, if you lost your keister buddy, you're keistering solo.
your keister meester.
One hole.
A keistermeister, that's the name. The person who shoves it up the other
A
person's keister.
keister-meister.
I'm the keistermeister.
That's like a Dr. Seuss character.
I'm the
I'm
keistermeister here to put a
The
pill up your
Christmas
keister.
I'm
keister-meister.
just gonna take this straw and blow it right up your hole.
One hole.
Oh, ew! No, we don't want to know. Have you ever?
It could go in either hole, technically.
Oh.
It could go in any hole. I mean,
Well,
that's-
if we're talking about females, like,
Oh, well,
because of
no.
like the way that stuff works.
No.
That's how yeast infection.
That's a yeast infection.
But that's
that
also
doesn't
how it gets
happen.
directly into your bloodstream. But we'll continue.
Don't, no holes.
I'm not encouraging people. Okay?
No drugs in holes.
Please.
All right. Have you ever substituted one drug for another?
Yes.
Of course.
Thinking that one particular drug
Is
was
less.
the problem.
Oh, in that way.
Yes, 150%.
Yeah.
Were you, Eric? Were you ever like, the heroin's the problem? I'm just gonna smoke crack.
What do you think?
Absolutely.
You know?
Yep.
I was like, oh, this cocaine's really become a huge issue. I think I'm gonna do pills and smoke weed and drink.
See, I never. Well, okay. So I believe there is a hierarchy of drugs.
Yeah, I explained it in a meeting one time.
And I know we try and keep them all on the same level, but
They aren't.
let's be honest. Marijuana is not meth.
Yeah.
It never will be, and it never has been, and it never will be.
It's not crack either. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're not gonna You do not understand the desperation of a crack hit if you're
yeah.
smoking pot.
Yeah.
No.
Like, and I'm
no, you
sorry.
don't.
You like, and I know that's like an asshole thing to say. But
And
like,
on that topic, all these people out there eating a Dorito and saying, "Oh, these are crack," and it's like, have you smoked crack?
Yes.
It is not crack. They are very
I'm
delicious.
addicted to these.
Yeah,
Are you?
I'm addicted to these.
Are
I'd be
you?
like, really? Are you gonna suck dick for some
I was
Doritos?
just gonna say we gotta
No.
get Bob Saget's monologue in there.
Are you gonna?
I mean,
Boo
if
this
you,
man.
If you aren't willing to suck dick for some coke, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It never came to that for me, but probably like if it was like, hey, you want some coke? It's like, yeah, I really do. It's like, well, I have a penis. I'm like, yeah, you do. Blah
Yes,
blah blah.
you surely do. Yes, you do. And they're
It's
like,
how
I
much
just was
coke is
telling
this
you.
right now?
How
It's
much
like-
coke are we talking here? Yeah, if we're talking a rail, you can go. You can leave, sir.
Well, it depends on the size of the rail. Too.
If we're talking
That
about
is
if
true.
we're talking about a ball, this situation has just gone up a notch.
changed a little
Oh.
bit.
But no, substituting one drug for another. Mine was never like I never shot heroin. I never did meth. Never smoked crack. But I did cocaine. I did opiates. So like I did plenty of hard shit. My shit was always like, it's not. Oh, I'm not gonna. I think cocaine's too hard, so I need to focus on my smoking and my drinking.
Right.
It was like I'm doing too much coke right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so it was never one is better than the other. In my mind, it was just, I'm doing this too much. I need to reel it back and get back to this.
Well, I just switch things out.
So it's not that the cocaine was the problem.
Yep.
It's the amount of cocaine
it was my
I'm doing.
tolerance
Yes.
too. Like, this isn't as fun anymore. Let's do the other
Yes,
thing that my body is not
exactly.
used
Yep.
to. Yep.
So, yeah. It was never one drug was the problem. It was just how much of the drug I was doing was the problem.
For sure.
Have you ever manipulated or lied to a doctor to obtain prescription drugs?
I have not done
I have
that.
not. That's not my story.
I can say
I manipulated people.
Oh, for sure.
But
100%.
not doctors.
Never a doctor.
Eric?
lots of doctors.
Lots of doctors.
God, yeah, it's a huge part of my story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The medical introduction is very much your story.
Yeah,
and,
that's
and it's
me.
a lot of people's stories.
Yeah,
It's,
in
yeah,
our
it is.
generation.
My first time ever taking drugs was through a doctor. So that was Oxy.
So I've actually told my coworkers about your your whole leg,
My whole story.
your whole leg
Yeah.
scenario, and they're like, "Oh my god, is that child abuse?" And I'm like,
Kind of.
yeah.
Kind of.
What happened? What's
Oh, I
the
had
leg
limb lengthening
story?
surgery done when I was 15.
Yeah.
And I had like one of the worst cases ever. So they actually stopped doing the procedure that I had done because I got 2.5 inches of growth in 2 weeks. And you're supposed to get 3.5 over the course of 3.5 months. So all of my nerves and all of my like joints and everything all got like super stretched really fast.
Oh my god!
And it was your femurs, correct?
My femurs.
Yeah, your
yes.
femurs were broken.
Yeah, so I had to
Medically
go
lengthened.
do an emergency surgery to get like external fixators put in. But I was on like hundreds of milligrams of like opiates a day at like 15. Like I was on like benzos. I was on I think like 15 to 18 different meds a day.
Do you still have your fixators on the wall?
They're down in the basement.
They're down in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he has like actual like Forrest Gump legs. Like
Yeah,
he
I
had,
had real
my
fixators
goodness.
on. Yeah.
and you had screws in your bones, right?
Weirdest feeling still is having my screws unscrewed from my bone while awake.
Oh.
I can't compare it to anything.
Yeah.
Actually,
No. No. What do you compare that to?
I don't know. I've had a lot of weird pains in my life.
Maybe
too.
dental work would be the
Maybe.
closest.
But still,
that would be
still
the
is like
closest thing.
it's the closest thing,
Oh
but
my
still is like
goodness.
I can't
because I was like
imagine.
trying to think like
My
dry
legs hurt
socket
talking
was like
about
a
this.
son of a
Oh.
bitch.
I've
You've
never-
had dry
A
socket.
dry
never
socket.
had
Have you had it? It's awful, right?
my God.
It's the worst.
It
like,
is- it's
it's
so
a
bad.
terrible pain because you
It
can't
is
do
so
shit.
bad. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to college for 2 weeks when I dry socket because I was like I was just in my bed like I just am in so much fucking
It was the
pain.
worst. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I couldn't take opiates because I had just gone to rehab. I was so mad.
Dude, I remember having a dry socket, and I went back in. She was like, "Yeah, this is a dry socket," because I smoked cigarettes
Yep.
while
And they're
doing
like,
it.
"There's nothing you can do."
And she took this like little thing of like gauze and dipped it in witch hazel, and was like, "So, I could numb you. It'll take 30 minutes for you to numb, and then I can insert this into the dry socket, or we can just do it." So she took this gauze with witch hazel, and I was like, "Fucking send it!" And she just slammed it into the dry socket. I screamed, and wouldn't you know, within like 10 hours, that it was healed. It was
Oh,
healed.
Really?
But it was
It hurt so bad.
I almost passed out
Oh my
because it's just like this, like rotting. It feels like just decay.
It hurts so
Yeah,
bad.
I mean your jawbone is exposed.
Yeah, it's just like decay.
was that from getting wisdom teeth removed or something else? Yeah,
yes,
mine
it
too.
surely was. I went straight into smoking cigarettes. I thought my mom was just
goodness.
a narc. telling
I
me
stopped
not to.
smoking. I accidentally slurped a straw
Yeah.
because I was so high after it. I was painting my face with the blood in my mouth, like as
Jesus
someone.
Christ, Eric.
I was on a lot of it.
Dilaudid? What the fuck?
No, they were.
Painting
It was.
with the
I remember when they gave me
Yeah,
the
morphine.
anesthesia. They were like, "We're gonna give you some fentanyl," and like right as I got the fentanyl, I was like, "Yeah, that's good shit." And I passed out.
And also back to the hierarchy. Yes, fentanyl.
Oh.
Like if you're drinking, that's not fentanyl. Like
Yeah.
Fentanyl literally scares
even
me.
Four Locos is not fentanyl. Like,
Fentanyl
Four
keeps me away from like
Locos.
Yes.
street drugs. Like
Yeah.
it's like legitimately terrifies me. Because that wasn't
As it
around
fucking should.
when we were kids. Like,
No,
yeah, you
I
could
got-
die, but like, you can't.
Yeah.
But you can really die.
Dude, you can get weed laced with fentanyl
Yeah.
nowadays. It's
Everything
fucking like
is
people.
laced.
Oh, he just smoked weed, and it's like, oh, he popped for fentanyl.
Yep.
Fucking ridiculous. So no, two out of three have never manipulated a doctor.
Good for you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I just never had to.
Yeah,
it was
me
never
too.
my thing. I never broke my femurs.
Well, yeah. I was introduced that way, so yeah.
Oh, this is a stupid. Have you ever stolen drugs or stolen to obtain drugs?
Yeah.
100%.
Fucking lootly.
Yeah.
How bad do you like? What's the time you feel the worst about it? Though?
The worst I feel about it, and I've told you this story, is when we were drug dealers, and this guy was like, "Hey, I have this broken gun. Do you guys want
I
it?"
remember this.
And
yeah.
and you might have known him. We'll talk about it off air. Me and this guy Brandon, we were living above a bar and on Edmondson and Ingleside.
Yep.
And this guy, he was like, we're like, yeah, we'll give you half an ounce for the broken gun. And then we committed to like rob 5 people around Catonsville with a broken gun and totally rationalized it. We're like, it's fucking broken. It doesn't have any bullets in it. We can't actually hurt anybody.
Right. We're just
outside
flailing
of
this gun.
outside of like pistol whipping somebody, which we never did. But we just scared the shit out of these people and robbed them for like a pittance of money. I think the most we got was like $50. And like, I don't know. It was fucking horrible, and we didn't even need the money. Like, we were just assholes. And that wasn't even really to obtain drugs. It was just to be a shitbag human being.
Yeah.
But it was part of like the whole addiction process of not giving a fuck about any human beings around me. And then the last time we did it, we were like, do you feel as bad as I do? I was like, I feel horrendous.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. He was like, we're getting rid of this thing. I was like, yeah, we are. So we blunt ride out to the middle of nowhere to where there was like a lake, and we fucking just chucked it. We were like, we're done with that. We were like, no more guns. No more guns, dude.
Holy shit.
We were like, yep, no more guns.
No more guns.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people would lose drugs in a room, and you'd be like, oh yeah, I'll help you look for it, and like genuinely, like, I didn't know where it was, but I found it, and like I palmed it and put it in my pocket.
Sure.
And we're like, I guess it's gone, man.
Yeah, sorry, man. I'll let you know if it pops up.
Yeah. Tons of times. Yeah. Stole people's drugs or, oh God, I used to steal my dad's weed. He deserved it though. He was a piece of shit.
The family weed.
Oh yeah, the family weed. He was a dick. I mean, so what was fucked up is he came to me for weed, and so I sold him some weed, and then I knew where he kept it. So whenever I was like light, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm going to steal some weed. Fuck him."
Yeah,
and I would just steal the weed back that I had sold him. So yeah, if you're stealing drugs and manipulating doctors, you might be an addict.
You might be.
You might be a redneck if. No, fuck that. That was a terrible reference. Do you regularly use drugs when you wake up or when you go to bed?
Bro.
Absolutely.
Well, it got to the point where like my wake up and go to bed just didn't exist.
Well, yeah.
Like I would not willingly go to bed.
No.
Like I would wake up from a thing.
Well, yeah, you would just come
I didn't have like that's also assuming that I willingly like went to sleep.
Yes.
And like naturally woke up. Like no.
Yeah.
I would like pass out by 1, wake up at 9.
Yep.
Pass out by midnight, wake up at 3. Like it was I did not have like a wake up sleep schedule.
It's such a shadow existence.
It really
where
is. A shell of yourself.
Time is irrelevant.
Yeah.
And it just is what it is. But when I had the wherewithal and the amount of drugs, like at night, I would like roll myself a blunt and just have it on the side table. So and like there would be a beer. There would be a beer there too. Like when I was living above the bar, like dude, that was my routine. I would have a beer and a fucking blunt on my little. I say side table. It was a milk crate with a piece of wood on it.
That's your side table.
That was my
side table. She has charisma.
No clock. There was no fucking clock in anywhere whatsoever. And I'd wake up and be like, "Yep, blunt is sparked, beer's open." Within 90 seconds of being awake. Within 90 seconds of being awake, because I was like, I don't want to face the day not fucked up in some way. But yeah, yeah, wake up and go to bed with drugs. Absolutely. What else are you gonna?
Right.
What else were you gonna do?
Naturally sleep.
Natural sleep.
Crazy.
Have you ever taken one drug to overcome the effects of another?
Yes.
Well, isn't that why you use drugs?
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Well, yeah, because it was constantly the balancing of the cocktail.
Oh, for sure.
Like you did too much coke, you gotta depress that shit down with some alcohol and some weed.
Is single drug users weird? Does anyone else think that's weird?
I
was a cocktail garbage junkie.
Yes, I think we were all garbage heads.
I was a dumpster. Yep.
Single drug users are
they're like single children, right? Are they like only children? Kind of weird.
Fascinating.
Maybe there's probably something there. But like
Matt Stout would be, or Matt S is like a single drug user, right?
He's fine.
He's
kind
of weird.
No, we had a guy on here a while ago who was a former congressperson.
Oh,
yes, who never did drugs for most of his life.
Of course.
And then in his 40s, while working in Congress
Yep.
as a state representative, he was like, I'm going to smoke crack. And he
Hell
just
yeah.
And then he just went on like a several year crack binge.
That's right.
It happens. Yeah.
And
That's right.
out of fucking nowhere. And it's just and so we were like, well, were you doing anything else? He was like, nope, smoking crack.
Just straight to.
We were like, well, were you drinking? He was like, nope, didn't like drinking. I smoked crack. And it was just like,
straight.
what?
To.
Just straight to crack.
That happens
Like-
sometimes. Though.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And
man.
I can't remember what his explanation was, but yeah, he just went like straight to crack. And I get having a favorite drug.
Sure.
Like, yeah, like, I mean,
Yeah.
we all had a favorite drug,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I don't know. Did I have a favorite? No, I love
Opiates.
I love
Opiates.
hallucinogens.
Opiates.
I loved hallucinogens.
I always forget about those.
Yes.
I always forget.
Well, are
about
they
those.
drugs?
Shrooms were great.
Are they drugs?
They're 100%.
Yes.
Or are
yes.
they ways to get, a little more spiritual?
when you're eating 7 grams of psychedelic mushrooms.
That's called an ego.
Yes.
That's called ego death.
Yes.
The peanut butter
Yes.
sandwiches.
That's called an ego death. That's not. That's
Not an
Speaking of which, in high school, like the first time I ever bought mushrooms, me and my friend Sean, we put them on the peanut butter sandwiches, and then like we weren't feeling anything, and we were like, "What the fuck?"
Oh no!
And so we called the dealer, and we're like, "Bro, these mushrooms aren't doing anything?" And he was like, "Well, how'd you eat them?" And we were like, "Well, we like put them on some sandwiches." And he was like, "Sandwiches?" Oakland Mills black dude. He's just like, "Sandwiches? I ain't never heard of no sandwiches."
Hell yeah!
And he was super. He was our dude Johnny. He was fucking cool as shit. And he was like, I don't know. He was like, maybe some bad ones got into the batch. I'll give you another. I'll give you another eighth. And we were like, all right. And he was like, listen, when you do them this time, don't eat for a little
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, you don't eat.
He was like,
Yeah.
you don't eat for a little while, like just like a few hours. Let your stomach clear out, and then eat nothing but the mushrooms. And he was
Yep.
like, and I don't know if this was a myth or if it was true. And he was like, vitamin C helps it kick off.
I heard that.
So he was
too.
like, chase it with like some orange juice because they taste like shit.
Well,
And I
the
was like,
food fucked you. That's what happened. It's
Dude.
the food that fucked you. But
On
you
how-
probably got high like 3 hours later.
we didn't.
Oh,
We never
that's
did.
Weird.
Yeah.
It just never hit.
Yeah.
We were like, all right, fuck it, let's just smoke a whole bunch of weed. So we did.
Yeah, so you do it, you vomit, and then you do your thing.
Yep, and then you know go see God,
Meet her for a little bit.
meet her for a little while, see what's up.
Yep.
But yeah, and back to the whole sleep thing. Like I'd be too ramped off fucking coke, and then I just have to slam shots until I pass the
That's
fuck
right.
out.
That's right.
Yep, and that is a terrible existence. Don't do that, people.
Please do not.
It's awful. If you are doing that, please stop.
Please.
Please stop. Do you avoid Do you avoid people or places that do not approve of your using?
Yes.
Of fucking course.
Every day, all
Yes.
day.
Yes.
I would change friend groups with the quickness as soon
Yes.
as somebody had a side comment.
Yeah, once my stoner friends were like, "Dude, you're smoking coke,"
Right.
Like we don't do that. It's like,
you're
oh, okay,
snorting, You're
cool.
snorting items.
Yeah.
Well, that's when you start to go to
different.
the bathroom.
No, fuck that.
That's
Fuck
what
those
I did.
people. Fuck
So-
those.
See, no,
People
I
just don't
changed
need to
friends.
know.
Nope, I just changed
Yep.
groups.
They don't
Every
need to know.
time.
No, and
They don't need to know
if
what I'm
I
doing.
strictly wanted to smoke a blunt, yeah, I'm hitting you guys
Sure,
up. If
yeah.
I wanted to do pills, coke, and drink, like I was doing that.
Yeah.
Also,
Blunts are gross.
wildly dangerous. Like
100%.
What's wildly dangerous?
So there were nights, several of them,
Yeah.
where I did Xanax,
Oh, yeah.
oxys, cocaine, alcohol, and
yes.
marijuana, all
yeah.
in the same cocktail.
Casually.
Sounds like a Tuesday.
Casually.
Like
Monday noon.
yeah. Benzos and opiates do not mix
They
them.
don't mix,
And then
no.
on top of that, you're supposed to mix neither of those with
Yeah,
alcohol.
heroin Bob.
To be
with-
very
with
fair,
alcohol.
no
Heroin
one knew
Bob,
how
RIP.
dangerous benzos were back then.
No.
To be fair.
No. You know Alex W.
Yes.
Dude,
Yeah.
listen to his podcast. He should be dead.
He scared me.
Oh, shoot.
He should be dead.
Well,
Yeah.
I remember I learned that SLC Punk, Heroin Bob,
Yes.
died from combining Tylenol with liquor.
Yeah.
And I just always knew, like, heroin, like, RIP.
No, but
Only
so
posers die.
yeah, fuck you, Bob. Now he doesn't have any friends.
Doesn't
asshole.
have any friends.
Oh.
The spit of Matthew Lillard.
But no. So Alex was doing research chemicals, which were just
Jesus.
online benzos. Dude, he was taking like 1,800 milligrams a day.
You need to read about them because they're crazy. They're all different. They all have like absurd different half-lives. And the only I went into this crazy thing like last year where I was researching like all just these weird drugs, and I came across the benzos, and it was like, oh my god, dude!
They
like,
actively shut off parts of your brain.
Yeah.
That is insane.
It's dude, and like I love Alex. I love you so much, and I hope you're still listening to the podcast. I love you, kid, but you fried yourself.
Like
they
they should probably stop prescribing anything but Xanax.
Facts.
Xanax, they need it for like planes and shit and like that like sort of stuff, but I think Klonopin, all the other stuff, like
is Vicodin a benzo?
No, that's an opiate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew that. That was a stupid question.
Everyone now
Amateur.
knows you asked that question.
Amateur.
Forever.
Fucking amateur. I knew that.
Don't snort Vicodin. There's talent on it.
Ew. Don't snort anything.
Please.
Just PSA.
Totally just random thought. Like, is snuff still a thing? Like tobacco?
Yeah.
Snuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I've always wanted to
Yeah.
try it. Actually,
I know a handful of people.
it's amazing. You know a handful of people
I
who
do.
actually do snuff.
17, 1800s.
I'm
Joey-
surprised this guy doesn't do snuff because you are a person who would be like,
Dude, if you're in recovery
It's gross.
snorting tobacco, look at that.
Yeah.
Please.
Are you sure? I mean, it is a viable way to
No, it's
consume
not.
your tobacco.
Dude, no. That's like shooting saline to me.
Oh, yeah.
It's
for
like if
sure.
you're just well, I just like sticking myself with a needle and shooting. Like you gotta no. There's more there.
Yeah.
Don't do that shit. Oh God. Have you ever used a drug without knowing what it was or what it would do to you?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Not Eric. Eric
No,
did not.
I don't think so.
Eric
What?
he researched
Well,
everything.
you guys do realize that pills, like, there's multiple websites like that you can look up what a pill is.
Yes.
You know, so
dude.
I would always look it up before I took it. But I didn't
did
buy things that I didn't know. Like there were times where people would be like, "Here's a bunch of random pills that I have," and
Yep.
I'd be like,
Dude,
"I'll buy those."
Like it was not an experience from my childhood or my youth. Pill parties, stay the fuck away from them.
Yeah, if you ever
Yeah.
hear something called a
Pill
farm party,
Or a farm party. Yeah, that's what a farm
they're called
party.
Dude.
farm parties.
I accidentally
With a
did
PH.
heroin
Oh God.
because I thought it was cocaine and did not ask the question.
Yeah.
And then later on,
She's addicted. I got your daughter addicted to fruit snacks.
Yep,
They are healthy fruit snacks though.
they are. They're covered in yogurt.
They're covered in yogurt and the very first ingredients are fruit, so it is good.
She just ran in here and threw one at my
Through some
feet.
yogis. Yeah, my son loves them. We've had to limit his use. He only gets 3 to 4 at a time.
Well, she's obsessed with cheese and yogurt right now.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Num, 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 num. Go get your num nums. All right.
but yeah, accidentally did heroin because I thought it was cocaine.
Yeah.
And
You pulled pneumothermin.
yeah, and then followed like 5 years later,
was a Pulp
I
Fiction. That's
accidentally took like one too many of like my non-addictive mental health medications.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not good.
And I
Yeah.
was literally like like pointer finger on the pulse, like this
Dude,
is
that
it.
was
I'm
Brad's.
going
That
dead.
was Brad's life for like
I'm
a
gonna
whole
die.
summer. Yeah.
I'm gonna die. And it was like, man, like 6-7 years ago, I was accidentally doing heroin.
Brad,
And now I accidentally do a non-addictive, non-invasive medication, and I'm like, I need to go to the ER now.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
I need
What
to go.
medication is this?
It was a Wellbutrin.
Oh,
It was like the most non-invasive, but that's
No.
like how my mindset changed. Like I remember
That's-
when I accidentally did heroin.
Hey, I took I was prescribed Wellbutrin a few months ago. I had to get off of it because it felt like there was a hole in my chest.
Oh, I love it. See,
So I was
I've
like,
heard
I'm
that
not
response,
taking this. I'm not taking this back.
though. I have heard that response though, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, when you take hallucinogens, did I really know what it was gonna do? No, I did
Yeah.
it anyway.
Well, the first time, no.
No,
The second time, you have
no.
a
Then you're
general
chasing the
idea.
dragon at that point.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but oh man, and like the first time I smoked DMT, they were like, "This is going to be your most intense trip
Ever.
times 100," and I was like, "I get a general understanding of what you're talking about. Not at all. Not at all the same. No. Like, mushrooms and acid had a level of recreationability to them.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the case for DMT. You were doing nothing.
Yep.
For the next hour.
Yep.
It's more
Facts.
like ketamine.
Oh god,
guess.
ketamine is horrible. That was the second worst drug I ever did.
K-holes.
Second worst drug I ever did.
never-
I didn't know what ketamine
You know,
was going to do.
I did it a few times and it never really did anything to me, so I'm probably a good candidate for the depression medication. Because I never got into a K-hole. It didn't make me feel anything.
Maybe.
It's really weird.
Talk to your doctor about some microdosing ketamine.
But I've heard it's good for people. Like, but I don't know.
I don't know.
Can't be any worse than Wellbutrin.
Has your job or school performance ever suffered from the effects of your drug use?
It's called straight A's, motherfucker.
Yeah, I quit going to HCC because
me too.
dealing drugs were more important than
Facts,
fucking
yep.
community college. Fuck community college. I don't need that shit.
Graduated with 3.5. I think
I know.
did pretty well.
Yeah, you failed upwards constantly.
I don't know if it's failing if you keep succeeding, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, we are running about out of time, so we're going to stop the questions there.
What?
Dun, dun,
No,
dun, dun.
wait. No, we still have some time. Come on, what's another question?
All right. Have you ever been arrested as a result of your use?
Yes.
Yes. And it's why I got clean because I wanted.
Yes.
I didn't even want, like, I didn't necessarily want to stop doing drugs.
Yep.
I wanted to stop going to jail.
Well, and they use the program. I always, my biggest qualm, if you will, is that 12-step programs are used as a punishment by
Yes.
the state. Of,
They are used
whatever
as a
your
punishment.
It's like, you got to do this. You got to do this.
Yeah.
Hit 2, 3, 4 meetings a month.
It
Like,
is. It is not altruistic at all.
It's not
They're
there to help you in their
No,
mind.
they're not. The actual motivation behind it is not. Oh, we want to help
Yeah.
you fix your life. It's like no. This is the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah, literally.
you can go to rehab and meetings, or you can go to jail.
Right. In lieu of jail time, do these things that we're forcing you to do because it's a punishment.
That's really
as a
interesting.
result of your.
That's really interesting, and that might be part of why the
Yeah.
mindset behind recovery is so difficult to
I
overcome.
came in with resentments about the program.
Wow.
I came in with
I've never thought of
huge
that.
resentment about 12-step meetings.
Yeah.
Because it was viewed. It was presented always because
As a punishment. It's
for
true.
the better part of a decade, if not a decade,
You're 100% right, and it
I
was
was
for
on
me
papers.
too. Yeah, and it's like
And
fuck, I have to stay
I
clean.
have
'cause
to do this.
Yeah.
I have to go to
Did you ever-
IOP.
Did you ever go to Columbia Addiction Center?
I surely
Yeah.
I surely fucking
Yes.
did.
I went to Columbia Addiction Center when I was
I
18.
I
Dude,
loved Columbia
She
Addiction
called
Center.
me out. She called my ass out. Because I had been, like, forging my slips. Because that's what it does, right? Like, when we are faced with punishments, we find any way that we can get around it.
Yeah.
Is that the place across from the mall?
It
Yes.
surely is.
Okay.
Yep.
so-
I loved Columbia Addiction
Well,
Center.
I was like,
She called me out.
It's fantastic.
I was like the
Attacked.
hardest core drug user in that fucking building when I went there.
Of course you were.
Everyone else was there because they were like, I got
DUIs.
caught with like, I didn't leave the house and had alcohol on my breath, and then like
I wonder if
one
we-
other person was
I wonder
there for
if we were
weed.
ever in the same meeting.
No, we weren't, because I was there and we did like our drug-a-log, and I was the last fucking person, and I felt like, I was like, God damn it, I'm in the wrong place.
See, you're better than me. Because I would have been
Please.
like, Spotlight,
Yeah. Yeah.
come to my TED Talk.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus, I've done lots of
peasants.
drugs, guys. I don't really relate.
I did 3 stints going through there through IOP or whatever, and the first
I
2
did
times,
like the lady, though.
I
She
didn't
was
give
nice.
a shit.
Yeah.
But then the third time, the
What
lady-
was her... Probably shouldn't say her name out loud, but she's the one that called me out. And it was because she was the first person that did not
We
co-sign
probably
my
were all
bullshit.
there around the same time. Like, how
Had
old
to
were you
have.
guys when you went there?
I went
'Cause I was
there
19.
I had 2 stints, if you will.
So I went there when I was 14.
Jesus.
I went there when I was 17.
Yeah, I was
and then-
17.
And then I went there the very last time when I was 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was 17
So that
and
was
23, 24.
So that was 2012,
we
2013.
missed each other then.
Yeah.
That's actually
So-
probably...
So I was 07.
You and I were probably passing. Because
Yeah.
my first ever charge
I had Mike.
officially...
I had Mike.
it was
who
all women.
was an addict.
And the name Eileen is like sticking out. Or Mary. There was like a really cute blonde woman that like
she
ran
I
the
had when I
spot.
was 17.
Yes, she did
and
my
I was like,
intake.
oh, you're hot, bitch. I was
Yes!
like, you're hot. I was
She's
like,
just
I
like,
get
you're a
this.
child.
Yeah.
I came in, dude, and I had blown positive in my breathalyzer. So they reached out because that was my IOP at the time. And she was like, you're using. And I was like, that's false. I go to Serenity Center. And she was like, what meeting do you go to? And I straight up made it up. And she was like, you're fucking lying. And I remember in that moment being like, do you know who I am?
Yeah.
I am. Like, but it was
You're
her.
in my neighborhood, motherfucker.
Right. That avalanche down, though, because she was the first person to ever be like, you're lying.
Yeah.
Like, you are lying. And I was like, how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you? But, like, that stuck with me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, like, I really was. Like, and no one else in my time. Like, I don't count judges, right? Because the judge, you know, but like somebody who I had made a relationship with in my life was like, you're a liar.
Yeah.
And I was like, how dare you?
So actually, my last judge, I actually sent a letter to thank them. In recovery,
I need to do that.
They gave me a completely unwarranted PBJ for the third time. You should never.
I had that
You should never get.
too.
You should never get a third PBJ.
Yeah.
But
only one.
But yeah. So I had 60 or 90 days clean. I remembered my clean date, and I went and I represented myself.
Yep.
Because they were like, the judge asked, they were like, why don't you have a lawyer? And I was like, because I'm not trying to get out of this.
Oh.
I literally said that to them. I was like, I'm not trying to get out of this. I'm trying to be honest, and I'm genuinely trying to turn my life around. And I presented I was like, I have a book. Here's my court slips. I've been going to meetings every day.
I have like a basic text.
I have a home group, and they were like, what's your clean date? I was like, November 26, 2012. And they just stood there and looked at me. They were like,
okay.
the fact that you rattled that off that quickly, and with the evidence that you've presented, they were like, I genuinely believe that you're trying to turn over a new leaf. They were like, you're still getting 18 months of probation.
Right.
But
right.
I'm going to give you a PBJ today, even though
damn,
because it was like my 8th possession charge
sure.
in Howard County.
Oh, that's a big one.
And they believed me and gave me an opportunity. So I remember I still had my court documents, and I can't remember how I found them. Like I'm probably some really fucked up internet trolling way I found them.
Right.
And I wrote them a letter just saying, thank you. You helped change my life. I have 3 years clean at this point.
Yeah.
And that was a cool thing to do.
I need to do that.
I think our second guest, Carly's here. All right.
I don't know.
So our next guest is here. So we're gonna have to cut this short of "Am I an addict?" But there's some
The
questions.
answer is yes.
The answer is yes. If you're listening to this podcast, yes, you are an addict, and it's okay.
Welcome.
You're welcome. You're in the right place. Smart Recovery, Celebrate Recovery, whatever.
Right.
NAAA,
Heck
Overeaters
yeah.
Anonymous,
EA,
Debtors Anonymous,
MA,
whatever.
OA.
If it has an A at the end, you probably belong.
Yep.
But we're glad you're listening. Send us your topics. We will get to them. And thank you again, Rachel, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Did a great job.
Thank you.
And everybody out there listening, go to all our social media outlets, like, share, subscribe, join our Patreon to become part of our home group and help us keep the microphones on because we are self-supporting. But most importantly, everybody out there,
Stay safe and stay clean.